Well, good morning, everybody. I'm sure you've heard a lot of what's to come and what we're going to announce. But I want to make it a little bit personal and welcome Deborah, Aaron, Iriana, Natalie, and Rod. Thank you for joining us this morning on learning about the title information, which is very important. I know we're going through some unprecedented times right now that are changing what we do on a day-to-day basis. And if you haven't heard already, we're really happy to announce that, we're going to be able to give credits virtual and online, where a lot of other schools aren't able to do that. So bear with us as we try to, put these classes together. Like Cindy said earlier, you're going to get a lot of emails from Cindy. Don't disregard them, because now's a great time to take advantage of the opportunity to get some education in. And when we get out of this on the other side of it, which we will, and in this market that we're in, this isn't like the past recession. This is, we're in a really strong situation. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, that it's going to be really busy when we get out of this. So get yourself educated, get all the information you need from Cindy Bishop Worldwide, take the advantages of doing it online, and you're going to take off with your business when we get on the other side of this. So check on cindybishopworldwide.com and go under webinars and check on a daily basis, because they will be changing. We'll be adding the classes on that. But moving forward, we're here today to listen to Dave Testa with National Settlement Services. Dave, if you've never worked with Dave before, I highly encourage you to try to pen his information on a contract and give him the opportunity to do a settlement for you, because he is absolutely amazing. I've been getting emails and communications from him in the midst of all this craziness that's going on, where we all have to change the way we do business, but at the same time, we still have to do business. And I know a lot of people are in a tough situation where they're kind of in panic mode and they don't know what to do. Dave Testa with National Settlement Services has been on top of everything and is making everything very accommodatable, is that a word? For everybody, to make sure that we can get through everything that we're doing with our closings. And he's doing a fantastic job with that. He's been in the business for 10 plus years, knows all the ins and outs of it, the title business, and things come up all the time that you would never even consider happening. And Dave is actually really good about navigating that and coming up with solutions. And that's what you're looking for, to have someone on your team to make sure your transaction gets done in an efficient way. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dave. He's going to give, a real quick rundown on title insurance, which is something that I think a lot of people don't truly understand what that is, but it's insurance. And I know a lot of clients like to see that nice, big optional in parentheses next to title insurance, and whether or not they want to purchase it or not. And I think it's real important, because they're going to come back to you and go, well, why do I need this? If I don't need it, why do I have to get it? And I think it's important to understand why you should get it. Look, it's a one-time fee, and if you don't pay that one-time fee to get that done, it could be so costly. And I think Dave will probably give a little rundown on that information there. But you're not here to listen to me chit-chat, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Dave Testa with National Settlement Services.
Thank you, Don. So I'm Dave Testa with National Settlement Services. I got in the title business, I would say, in 2003. My experience consists of anything from case opening all the way to post-closing processing, settlements, and even corporate management of title companies as well. So I'm going to start with a little bit on the history of title insurance, why there's title insurance. So really all this came to play when, back in the day, sellers were providing warranties to buyers. And basically what a warranty is, it's telling the potential buyer or the buyer, as a seller, this is what I know about the title of the property. And there's two types of warranties when it comes to a title of property. You have a general warranty deed and you have a special warranty deed. And what a general warranty deed does, it basically says to the buyer, as a seller, I'm saying that the title is clear of any defect or claim or issue. And a special warranty deed is basically saying, I'm limiting my knowledge of the condition of title. And where you see special warranty deeds used typically is with a foreclosure sale, new construction, or anything that has to do with, if there's a relo involved or things of that nature where they take title. So that's what they were doing. And so in the 1800s, they decided to come up with a real assurance or insurance to protect the potential buyer of any claim that could arise to title. And what we do now is we are a part of a national organization. It's called American Land Title Association. And what they do is they create our forms and our policy standards and how we operate and insure. Now, as a title agent, there are a group of companies that provide insurance, but not all insurance companies are issuing what they call ALTA documents. So it's important when you're looking at a title insurer to know what type of policies they issue, their strength, their stability in the market. And we currently underwrite with First American Title Insurance. One thing I do want to point out, we have to pay fees, or the underwriters pay fees to be involved with ALTA. And when you're looking at a closing statement, you will see a fee. It's called a closing protection letter or insured closing letter. They call it ICL or CPL. This is charged on the settlement statement to the buyer. But if you ever have a cash deal and you see that the CPL or ICL fee is being charged, notify your title insurance agent and tell them to take it off, because that's only charged if there's a mortgage involved or a lender involved. So that's just some side information for you. So what is title? So title is basically your right to enjoy property. When we look at title, we don't necessarily look at the structure. So we're not necessarily looking at the house itself. We're looking at the plot of land, and then we're looking at the structures that affect that plot of land. So your title is the land that the property sits on, if there is a structure on that property, and the things that affect that. And it's your right to enjoy the property. Now, the difference between when you get your deed, this is another side note, in real estate, the buyer will receive the deed back. Where, unlike a car, even if there's a mortgage, the buyer still gets their deed back. And when you're dealing with like a car or a motor vehicle, if it's encumbered by a mortgage, the DMV holds that title until that lien is released. So if somebody has their deed to a property, it does not necessarily mean that they do not have liens associated with that property. So just keep that in mind. So title insurance basically protects against any defect in the title. So what's a defect? The biggest defect that I see in title is unreleased deeds of trust. So when you go to settlement, your borrower signs a deed of trust. And what that is that's the document that grants the interest of the property over to the mortgage lender. Once the deed of trust is paid off, they have to release their interest in the property. So they'll file what's called a certificate of satisfaction. If that certificate of satisfaction is not filed, that lien remains on the property, even if it's paid off. When that person goes to sell, that issue may still appear on title. So that is a very common defect of title. What we also see is forgery and fraud. I've actually had a situation where I was at settlement, and there was what I was told, a husband and wife that appeared. Upon further questioning of the individuals that were in front of me, I knew something wasn't right. So, I proceed with the settlement and hold it in escrow until the individual could prove to me who he was. Well, later on, I get a phone call and find out that was not the husband, but that was the boyfriend that appeared at the settlement. And what they were intending to do was refinance the house, take the proceeds, and run. So that's an example of fraud, and that happens a lot. Another issue that we see are missing heirs. So if you have a person that has passed away on title and they have 2 children that is known, they sell the property, and guess what? There's a 3rd child that wasn't known that is a valid heir to the property. They claim rights to the property. They have an interest. So that can cause a defect of the title. So there's different types of title insurance. There's an owner's policy. And what's nice about an owner's policy, the owner's policy is a protection for the purchaser of the property. There are no renewal premiums, so that's big. So once you purchase that property, it remains in effect. And then you have the lender's policy. And what lender's policy does, it protects the lender's mortgage. And the lender's policy, which is unique about that, is it decreases in value because as you pay off your mortgage, you're decreasing balance. So the risk that's involved is also decreasing. But the big thing about title insurance, and the real reason you want it, is it's a guarantee to defend the party should there be a claim. So you're not coming out of pocket to hire attorneys. You're not coming out of pocket to try to handle a claim or pay out of pocket. So in comparison, it's a very, very minimal expense. And what's unique about title insurance is it insures things in the past, and certain policies do offer future coverage. So like your automobile insurance insures you for things of the future, such as a car accident. But title insurance protects you of errors that were made in the past that are not known to you. So again, some of the benefits, as you can see here, policy up to the face value. There are exceptions to that. There's owner's title insurance that does increase in value. It goes up to 150%. It's called an enhanced title insurance policy. The property would have to qualify for that title insurance. Some protections. So when we're dealing with title, we get a report from the courthouse, and basically it's a rundown of information. And it looks like a printout of any other printout that you would make of, let's say, of a contract. You just print it out and you read through and you know the terms of the contract. That's similar to title. And we examine through that printout. What I can't tell you is if there were specific issues because we can't see them. And I'm talking about like if there was a forgery. If there's a signature and there's a notary acknowledgement and it looks the conveyances between the documents mirror each other, we can't necessarily tell if there was fraud involved. So the 2 types of owner's policies, you have a standard policy and you have the enhanced coverage. As you can see, there's 10 insured coverage risks in the standard, but there's 32 in the enhanced. What I like about the enhanced, it's about 20% difference in premium costs. So the premium's about 20% more than the basic, but what you get, one big thing that you get on the Alta Enhanced is mechanics lien coverage. So what a mechanics lien is if the seller hired someone to do work on the property and they didn't pay for the work, or maybe a portion of it wasn't paid, and somebody files a lien, that you would be protected under that mechanics lien coverage. So title insurance is important for the peace of mind. So here's some common claims that I just wanted to share. So if there's search errors, what I also see is misindexing. And what misindexing is when the county or the clerk spells something wrong, and that's very common. So my last name is Testa, and I was looking for something with the county clerk, and they could not find something that I knew should be there, and it was because they spelt my name Teasta, and that's an indexing issue. So if something's misindexed, like a lien, it may not show up on a title report. And then let's say the lien holder either refiles it or it's found and corrected, and that lien now comes forward, attaches to the property. With your title insurance, you would be protected of that. Some title issues also to be aware of. When you go to settlement, if the seller has a first and a second trust, make sure that the title company should make sure that the seller signs what's called an account closure letter on that second trust. Because what was happening was you would pay off the first trust, they have a second trust line of credit, they pay it off, but the second trust does not close out their lien, leaves their lien open, your new buyer takes possession of the property, the seller still has access to his credit line, and he starts withdrawing money. So now the seller has advanced $100,000, let's say, on your purchaser's new home. So that's an issue that we find with second trust deeds of trust. And that is a quick overview of title insurance. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to call me, email me, ask them to Don. Oh, I do want to touch on one thing. So with COVID-19, the courthouses are functional. And why this is important is for recordation. So when you go to settlement, we are required to record the closing documents. And what that does is recordation gives notice to the public that there was an exchange. Settlement has taken place prior to recordation. Once certain conditions have been met, settlement has been taken place. However, recordation is kind of like notice. And we found out from our carriers that they will allow us to continue to disperse, even not on record right now, as long as the borrower and seller execute the special affidavit that came out, and the transaction will still be insurable. So I'm getting a lot of questions on what happens if the courthouse shuts down. Well, we are told to continue our process as normal. We cannot guarantee when the document would go on record, but it would still be an insurable transaction as long as the parties have complied with the affidavit. And that's about it. Any questions?
Dave, thank you so much. That was great. Good information there. So I just want to touch on what you just said. So basically, closings can still happen, even though they may not be recorded right away at the courthouse. As long as they sign an affidavit at settlement, then everybody's okay to carry on business as usual, so to speak.
That is correct.
Okay. That is really good. It looks like Tina, do you have a question? Tina, can you type it in the chat box to everyone if you have a question?
Yes.
Or unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Can title insurance be added at any time of ownership of the property?
That's a really good question. So yes, it can. So when you go to settlement, what you get is, it's called a simultaneously issue rate. You get a discounted rate on the insurance. But after that, you would not get that discounted rate. You would pay the rate that's posted at the state. It's not like we make up a rate. We have to go by the rate that the carrier provides us. And then we would do another title search and look at the property to make sure, you know, there aren't any new liens that are popping up, or there's a pending litigation. So I've had that come up in the past, and I'll tell you that what the gentleman said to me was, hey, I want title insurance now because a mechanic's lien is getting filed against me. I can tell you from him stating that to me, we would not cover that because it's a known defect at that point of title.
Mm-hmm. Do you have trouble with the title insurance companies kind of refusing? I'm having trouble with one, and they don't want to add it because I've owned the property for 6 years.
I haven't had any experience with a title insurance carrier telling me that they wouldn't add it on a time period. There's probably more to that. That I would probably need to look into details to see why that would be. Because most carriers, I will tell you, they want to work with people. And they'll tell us, like, we're not in the business to make your job difficult. We're in the business to help you. So if a carrier's saying there's some sort of issue, there's probably something that's on the title that they're waiting for some statute of limitation to pass.
Okay. Well, there was 2 title searches for a refinance on it. It's my property, and I've had it 6 years. It's a newer home, and the lawyer on 2 occasions did not add the title insurance as requested. And when we did a refi, they said the title insurance won't add it because there could be liens against it. I said, well, you just did 2 title searches. And they said, because you've owned the property and could have did some work, they won't offer me the insurance.
So based on that, I don't see a problem, because as long as you sign an affidavit to me affirming that there hasn't been any work done that you have not paid for, and the key is, I don't care if you had work done, it's work that you have not paid for.
Right. Well, that's what they're worried about, is work we may have not paid for.
But you affirmed that in the affidavit. So if there was a claim that happened where there was work that you did not pay for, the carrier's not going to pay for that if you've affirmed vice versa. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That makes sense.
So I don't see an issue of doing a policy.
Okay.
We would just have to do what's called a full title search, just so we know all the easements and the tax information, rights of way, and things like that.
Okay. I do have a second part question, different issue. So I have a completely separate property in the same town. I flipped and sold it. And when they did something at the courthouse, and I haven't quite figured out the whole situation, they added that person's name somewhere on my deed to my own home when I sold them the other property. They confused the addresses. Will title insurance cover that? Which I don't have title insurance because they won't give it to me. But if that becomes an issue, is that a covered thing under title insurance if the courthouse makes a mistake?
Yeah, if there's an error in public record, yeah, you would be covered. It sounds like you are breaking up a little bit, but for title purpose, we do not use addresses. I mean, we do, but not for the insurance part of things, because addresses can change.
Right.
Like I had a property in McLean. They went from drive to court and all of that. So what we're looking at is, lot, block, and section number. And that's how we'll identify the property.
Okay. Well, they're just sending mail to here with her information on this address.
Right.
The person I sold the other property to, I'm getting mail here for the taxes with her name on it on my property.
That's really interesting. So it sounds like there might be an error. You might want to look at the deeds and see, make sure that the lot, block, and section and the legal descriptions didn't get flipped around. Like, I've seen in the past where they'll use the basically they'll use an incorrect legal description, and they put your legal on like the other property and just mix it up. And that can be corrected with the deed of correction.
Okay.
But that's getting really detailed. And you can email me, and I can, if you want us to look at it, I can see what's going on just to get an idea. I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Where's the property at?
It's in Jefferson County, West Virginia, and it takes a year. It takes a year for anything to show up, so I'm kind of waiting for that year time to pass because we're a year behind on our taxes. So anything done in 1 year doesn't show up till the next.
Right. I used to be a West Virginia agent. If you want, I don't know who you use, attorney, but I worked with Luttrell and Luttrell out there, and I think he's in Martinsburg now.
Yes.
I don't know if you worked with him.
Yeah.
But okay. I would check with them too. One of my old processor worked there. Her name's Lindsay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave, we have another question that came in from Heather Edwards, and her question is, title insurance equally important for an apartment-style condo in a large multi-level building? And I know I get a lot of people saying, oh, well, I'm buying a condo. Why would I need title insurance for? I know that's a common question.
I would definitely it doesn't matter to me, the property. I've personally never purchased property without title insurance, and I have owned a condo. So I think it's just as important, any property you purchase, for the simple fact of, if there is a claim, do you want to be responsible for paying that expense? And like I said, the unreleased deed of trust is a huge issue. And that's just simply that the seller's mortgage lender did not release their lien, and you bought the property, and now you're trying to sell it, and now you're delayed because you need a lien release. Whereas if you have title insurance, you can go ahead and sell it, and then they will take care of it on the back end. So it could save you a lot of money, even on circumstances like that.
So it doesn't really matter what type of property you're getting. As long as you're buying something that is a property of ownership, you should have title insurance.
And that, yeah.
Hey guys, I got to say something here. Being an investor and having owned a lot of properties I live in and investment properties, I've seen friends. I always have gotten title insurance, and I've always gotten the best policy I could, because I learned from some other investors that just never thought they needed it. So to give you an example, one of them had a chain of title defect, missing heirs, just something. I think it may have been fraud, kind of like the one you talked about, Dave, where the boyfriend came instead of the husband. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It cost this person, this guy, somewhere in I think it was higher than $15,000 to get it removed, because that's how much are attorneys. They're expensive, and they've got to go back and do all that work on something just as simple, or not simple in this case, as that. So it's all about the chain of title and the stuff that can happen. I mean, I was thankful a couple times that I had it. I had a situation where the shed was on somebody else's fence line. I mean, or over on their property. I've dealt with people that have had situations where it turned out that the septic was in the wrong place, and somehow title insurance got involved with all this stuff. So I tell you what, it saved the day for not only me, but for quite a few people that I know that are specifically investors, because they're usually the culprits that don't think they need it.
Yeah.
I
will also state to what Cindy was saying, it's really, really important to have a survey done. A lot of people do not like to do surveys because they don't want to pay for them. But you can actually, if you get a survey done in advance, you can address many issues, if there are issues, prior to even going to the table, for such as things as sheds being on the wrong property, or houses not sitting right in the setback lines, or if there's violations of easements, of things of that nature, that could be costly in the future to fix.
Now, am I right or am I wrong? I can't remember why the title companies used to tell me this, but I had to have a survey, or on my really high quality title insurance policy, they had to make exceptions for anything that didn't have a new survey attached to it.
Good question. So here's how it works. So now what they do is there is survey coverage given on the enhanced policy with no survey. However, there's a caveat to that basically says if it would have been disclosed by an accurate survey, then it may not be covered. So basically saying if a survey would have shown the problem, it doesn't mean it would be covered under the policy. And the reason that we used to do or required to do surveys is because that was part of the requirements by the lenders and the title carriers. But because the market's changed and the demand of speed has taken over, they're willing to insure without surveys. But I think it's a good idea because if there is something that would have been disclosed, it's going to save you a lot of headache in the long run.
Okay, last question from me. Mechanics lien coverage. Do all the policies have mechanics lien coverages?
No.
Or not? Okay, because that's a really big deal, and that's something that comes up a lot.
Yes, that's why you want the enhanced policy, but the enhanced policy is restricted to, what do I want to say, to certain property types. And if it's if it's a construction loan, you cannot get enhanced coverage, but if it's new construction, you can. So it just depends on the type of transaction that you're doing.
Okay, because that's a real saving grace, because boy, can you be in a pickle because of the way they can record things.
Oh yeah,
it's
because
very scary.
Because mechanics liens hold priority in Virginia.
Yeah, which is a bummer considering they have full control over just plopping it on there anytime they want. So it is very scary. People really just need to get these. And so okay, I'm gonna mute myself so Dawn can take over.
All right, well, that's a lot of great information out there. Does anybody else have any other questions? If you do, you can unmute yourself or
I do have a question.
Okay.
I guess it's based on Cindy's comment on that they can easily plop a mechanics lien on a property. What's needed in order to put a mechanics lien on a property?
Okay, so there's a whole that's probably I have a whole class on that, but in the long run, the contractor would have to perfect his lien, and there's some things that he has to follow in order to have his lien granted. But it all boils down to for the work or didn't pay for the work, was work done, and it also includes supplies. So if supplies for work were provided to do work, were the material men paid as well. But there's a whole statute on that. I don't know if that really answers your question, but.
No, that's fine, considering that this wasn't the topic. I was just going back. So no, that was good.
Anastasia wants to have a class on mechanics lien, Dave, so we'll be putting that into our schedule because that I think is important because it is pretty easy for them to do it. Yeah, they got to prove it at the courthouse, but it isn't that hard.
Yeah, and it includes contractors, subcontractors, material men. So there's definitely a lot of people that can file.
Yeah, so I think that's an important information there. And a lot of it happens last minute. I mean, if you're getting your house ready to sell and you have all this work done to it and your house is sold and all the work's done, but it hasn't gotten paid, what do you do?
Something like that? Is that what you're asking me? Or is that?
Yeah, I'm just making a comment on that, on mechanics lien. I think it's something that's real important to understand that. Because it seems like it's very common. Tina's asking a question. Will they put title insurance on just the land without a structure?
Yes. So, yes, so typically that's what we're looking at anyway. We look at the structure, but I mean, there are title insurance available for land only.
Okay.
And that would be the basic title policy.
Okay. You know, this is a lot of great information. Every time I talk to Dave, I learn something new, just in casual conversation. I'm like, wow, I did not know that. And I've been in the business for a very long time. So over 20 years ago since I got into the business, and I learned something from him every time. So title insurance, you know, just like anything, car insurance, home insurance, you know, you hope it's something that you don't ever have to use. And understanding how title works in the process, even though it doesn't seem like it's an integral part of the transaction, but it truly is. It's always in the background, and it's super important until something doesn't go right and it puts everything to a halt. And that's where you want to truly understand, you know, what it is you're dealing with. What does title do? Title insurance do? What's the best way to protect your client in that? So there is a recording of this class for today, and you can find it on Dave's page at cindybishopworldwide.com. It'll be there in a few days. He's got some other classes on there as well. And if you're not doing it already, visit cindybishopworldwide.com, and there's a ton of great resources on there in addition to upcoming classes. And like I said, in light of us being stuck at home for a month, 2.5 months, I guess, we are going to be providing credits online virtual. We just got approved for that. So make sure you check back at cindybishopworldwide.com and click on webinars. And those are going to probably be changing fast and furious here soon. So look for any classes that you're interested in attending with that. Classes will be behind the monthly button. So Cindy's saying classes will be behind the monthly button under upcoming events as well as webinars. So they'll be, I guess, in both locations. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. I hope you walked away with a lot of information. My understanding is everybody who attended this class today will get a advanced personal invite for Dave's future class on title, which is going to be more advanced class with credits, and you'll be able to attend that class at no cost to get the credits. And you'll have an advance invitation from Cindy Bishop. So when you will get a plethora of emails, don't ignore them. Again, one of them will probably have an invite to the next class, in addition to some other classes coming up as well. As usual, you can always contact me or Cindy Bishop if you have any questions about any future classes. You have Dave's information. You can go into Cindy Bishop Worldwide and get his information and contact him if you have any questions about title. Or again, if you have any closings coming up and you're unsure about what's going to happen in light of everything that's going on with the courthouses, because I know there's a lot of panic going on, and everyone's trying to move closings to make sure they beat what is to come. But as of right now, everything seems to be working really well. I've just had a slew of closings here end of month, and it was a mad, crazy thing to get done. But again, with like Dave coming up with all the solutions, letting everybody know what can be done, it went really well. So everything got done. We didn't need to push anything. Everything's going to be recorded, and you know, we're just going to continue on day by day. So with that, having said that, Dave, thank you so much. That was wonderful information, and looking forward to the next classes. And Cindy, we're looking forward to all the upcoming webinars to come to. And if you're new to Zoom, which I am, and all this virtual stuff, check out cindybishopworldwideagain.com, because I'm sure she's going to have some great information about how to handle your business in this virtual world right now. So having said that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Everybody have a great day. Stay healthy.